I would like to share with you a few of my observations on how do women try to achieve their aims today, to look into developments which are influencing activism and those who are engaged in achieving social change. And I would also like to look into what are the future directions when it comes to engagement and activism, and especially the women's role in these processes. First of all, we can listen a lot about the existence of a new generation, those of 20-something, which are or the generation who is disengaged, apathetic about politics, social problems, and civic causes. There is an assumption about the current death of feminism, the rise of selfishness and individualism, and we say sometimes that it's a disaffected millennium generation. My organization itself was researching a bit about how the new generation, those who are 20 today, think when comparing to the generation of their parents or those who are 20 years older. We were focusing on the region of the Western Balkans, and we asked questions related to perception of living conditions, relations to others, life expectations, looking into the future and the past, those who were born in 1971 and 1991. This research for us was, of course, important and interesting too, because it was last year, 20 years after the dissolution of Yugoslavia, and we wanted to see how those two generations who have been raised in completely different political systems looking back or looking into the future. A very interesting conclusion is that there is less generational cohesion than differences between nationalities, differences between countries. I was simply mentioning this because I think it's important if we are talking about a new generation of leaders, a new generation of activists, being those women or men. This is very important to know. We many times count on the newcomers, the new potential leaders of our world, but we have to know that there are many influences which affect these people, and in this region especially, they might behave a bit differently than those who live abroad in the Western world. If we are thinking about activism today, we also have to recognize that the informational technologies, the revolution which emerged in the communication technologies, of course, influences a lot on what forms of activism we have today. I looked a bit into the question how women are shaping the internet, and I found some very interesting data what I would like to share with you. Statistics show that globally 48% of women spend time online compared to 52% of men. Apart from shopping, women spend time on blogging and social media interaction. Women are powering conversations on the social media platform. 57% women spend time on Facebook, 55% post photographs and discuss photography on Flickr, 57% of women are on Twitter, and 54% of women read some or the other blog. Overall, women spend 16.3% online time on social networking, while 11.7% of men spend their time that way. From overall influences on Twitterverse, 54% are women and 46% are men. However, if you look at the most influential list of Twitter users, men come on top with 52% and women make up 48%. we could say that this is a real world statistics, what is reflecting in the virtual world too. So why are women happier to express online compared to the real world? Internet has so far been a gender-neutral space. It is not hierarchical or patriarchal like the traditional media, which makes it easier for women to find their niche. Online monitoring of the clicks cannot tell the gender of the user. This very anonymity and gender neutrality has provided impetus to internet activism, and women have been quick in grabbing the opportunity. I think that this is very interesting because most of the social activism, if you look at the Arab Spring or other emerging large-scale civil activist movements today, have a lot to do with the internet and the social media. Another issue is how influential they are and what impact they really have, and whether they are really contributing to the democratization process as it is considered if we just look at the numbers, but that would be another issue. On the other hand, we can also see that women, especially young women today, are finding very interesting and controversial ways of achieving their aims. I think all of you heard about the Ukrainian group of young women who are only in their 20s called Femen, which was established in 2008. They have around 300 young women members today, and they declare their aims as to develop leadership, intellectual and moral qualities of the young women in Ukraine, and to build up the image of Ukraine, the country with great opportunities for women, or to shake women in Ukraine, making them socially active, to organize in 2017 a women's revolution. The organization is contemplating even becoming a political party and taking part on the next elections, which will take place this year in Ukraine. Feminine politics or justifies its proactive topless methods, stating that this is the only way how they can be heard. That in that country, if they would stage only simple protests by using posters or billboards, their claims would never be heard. In 2011, they even claimed that they are growing internationally, they are crossing borders, and that similar organizations have been established in Warsaw, Zurich, Rome, Tel Aviv, and Rio de Janeiro. The group campaigns about different issues, starting with prostitution, against prostitution and discrimination of women, but also they focus on a wide range of other topics like the tax code in Ukraine, or freedom of speech, and foreign borrowings of the government. I'm not judging now, or not trying to judge their approach. I'm just trying to show another example on how young people, young women in this case today, are trying to achieve their goals. If I look just around my organization, and again in the region, I can state that my conclusion would be that women are much more engaged in social activism than men. Women are much more around when it comes to difficult issues, and they are a lot more ready to engage themselves, even though the benefits are not that clear. My organization has several leadership programs which include young people, a program for young civil servants, a program for young emerging leaders who just are starting their professional career, a program for young researchers. And in all these programs, if I look at the percentage of applicants, women are in a much larger number present than men. For example, in the first year of the launch of our fellowship program for young governmental officials, out of 20 participants at the end, we had 17 female and only 3 male participants. We like to say that we choose our participants based on the quality, and we are not trying to achieve or use any quota. And that is the reason that many times we end up with that relation when it comes to gender composition. I was leading before this position, what I'm holding now, I'm executive director of this organization, the European Fund for the Balkans, where my office is composed of only 5 staff members, out of what there are 4 women and 1 man. I was leading an organization before where I had 6 women and 1 man in my office. And if I look around in NGOs, only in Belgrade, but also in the region, wider region, I can state that this is the same ratio. I would conclude with saying that, in my opinion, we have a great need in finding new models of leadership today. I would follow up on what Mrs. Slavka Drašković was presenting in a very professional way, and say that definitely some of the latest theories should be used in order to find new models of dealing, and simply being prepared and empowered to assume leadership roles with men in all public arenas has to be taken very seriously. And we have to accept equal responsibility for making positive social change. I would say that many times I think whether until we still talk about quotas, we can count on equality. Whether if we still consider some issues, women issues, we can count on equality. New ways of thinking across boundaries, identities and complexities in a still essentially patriarchal world is very important. I think that a part of challenges, there are many opportunities out there, and women should use their female skills, what probably have been discussed during these 2 days already many times, to simply grab the opportunities which are out there and to bring themselves in a completely equal position where there will be no need anymore to prescribe quotas in order to take actively and equally part in the society.